Everything Families, Miss McDonald and Miss Roper here. We just thought we would go through our curriculum with you this half term. So it is called All of Mexico, which is obviously all about Mexico. It is a geography topic, so we will be starting off this half term with lots and lots of geography. The children will be focusing initially on human geography. So human geography is anything that humans have done that can impact the planet. So that could be from the government to culture, architecture, anything like that. The economy is one that lots of children normally tend to find quite interesting. They will then move on to physical geography, so that's anything that is naturally occurring within the planet, and they will be looking specifically in Mexico. So that is the landscape, the active volcanoes, the canyons, that are all in Mexico. They will then use their knowledge to compare it to some of the geography they might already know here in the UK, so things that they've experienced in their day-to-day life.
In Spanish this half term, the children will be looking at how to tell the time in Spanish. They will have conversations with each other, asking each other what the time is and giving the time in response. They will also be timing the things they do throughout the day, using familiar vocabulary they have already learnt, as well as the new vocabulary, being able to add the timings to these. And in computing, they will be using a program called Tinkercad. And within this whole topic, they will be manipulating 3D designs. They'll be creating their own rooms, and they will be editing and evaluating these, looking at each other's work, and then giving each other feedback, and then developing their own work and improving their skills on this programme.
At the end of this half term, once the children have done their big SATs, which is coming up, we will be taking them all on a trip to Thorpe Park. I'm sure your children have been talking about it at home. On the build up to this, we will be asking them, how confident they feel with rides, and we will be putting them groups with their friends, but also with children who we think, will go on similar rides to what they enjoy. Obviously, there are some children who don't like going on anything at all, so we encourage them to go on the arcades and things like that to make sure that everybody has that really lovely experience after all the hard work they put in on build up to that.
Hello Year 6 families, this term is a very important one for the Year 6s on the lead up to SAT, so obviously we're covering a lot of different things in maths, but our topics this term are statistics, and then we are moving on to looking at the average, and then we are moving on to angles in a shape, and then finally ending with translation and reflections.
This will then leave us with a week or two to get lots of revision in before the children sit their SATs. Once they have done their SATs, because obviously we have some time this half term before we break up for this summer half term, they will be doing lots of problem solving and working out real life problems with all the curriculum that they've done up to now. I am very quickly going to model some angle basics so that if the children ask for some help at home, you are able to help them. So, the children should already know that angles in a right angle equal 90 degrees. They should know that angles in a straight line equal 180 degrees, and angles around a point, 360 degrees. We will be further in their learning, okay, and looking at the angles within shape. So we will start with triangles. Obviously you have 4 different types of triangles, however it is all the same principle, and the angles in a triangle total up to 180 degrees. Once we've done triangles, we will move on to quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is any 4-sided shape, so our most basic one is a square, but that could be an irregular quadrilateral as well with just different sides, but that is 360 degrees. When we move on to a pentagon, which is a 5-sided shape, I'm going to have to draw a pentagon here. We add on 180 degrees. The pattern is when you add an extra side to your shape, you get an extra 180 degrees. So in this case, it is 540. The children should be able to then work out how many degrees each side of the shape or each angle within the shape will have if it was irregular. So if it's a regular triangle, 180 divided by 3, because it has 3 sides, is 60 degrees. So a regular quadrilateral, so a square, 360 divided by 4, 90 degrees. If it is a regular pentagon, 540 degrees, 5 sides divided by 5 is 108 degrees. And so forth. So each time, every time it gets to an extra side, we add 180 degrees to our shape. And then to find the side of a regular shape, you just divide it by how many sides there are.
Hello Park Lane families, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about English for Summer 1. So as I'm sure you're aware, we are on countdown to SATs. Okay, that is week commencing the 13th of May. So it is very much heavy revision at the minute for both reading and grammar within English. Now we are focusing on particular spelling rules which you will see on our curriculum overview, just to make sure that we're really consolidating those rules and hopefully support them within their spelling test. I did touch on lots of grammar revision previously in the last video, so this time I'm going to talk to you a little bit about reading. One of the things within reading that the children tend to avoid is the 3-mark questions. So these are ones, for example, towards the end of the paper in paper 3. They do require a little bit more thought, but actually they should be straightforward. Now what we tend to see is that the children see the big boxes and think they're going to skip them, and even though throughout revision sessions and within Easter School we've done a lot of revision on them, we found even in the mocks last week the children are almost avoiding trying to answer them. But there's 6 marks usually on offer for 3-mark questions, so really could be the decider between them being expected great depth, so that's what we would hope that they would have a go at. So for example, a 3-mark question would look a little bit like this. So a lot of the time the questions will give them a prompt of where they're going to look. So for example, saying look at the paragraph beginning, we prompt the children to immediately find that paragraph so they know directly that's where they're reading. Here it's saying Innes meets the boy, what do you learn about the boy's personality? Give 2 things using evidence from the text to support your answer. Now what we would hope is that they make a point of thinking from the text, that little bit of inference, what do they think he would be like? And they would back it up with evidence. Now with this evidence they would highlight or underline if they use that as a support strategy, and copy it directly into the evidence box. Now I will show you some examples from the mark scheme for the 3-mark questions. So it does usually give you quite a few options. Now what I would say is you would need 2 acceptable points with at least 1 with evidence. Now we would encourage them to do evidence on both. So for example, you can see here there are 6 possibilities that the children could include. Friendly, he's unfriendly, he's rude, he's independent, brave, calm, he's curious, he's mysterious, he's secretive, he's determined. So even if they are running out of time towards the end of the paper, if they just make their 2 points for the personality, they could still get 2 marks from doing so. They would then back that up with some likely evidence. So this would be the sort of mark scheme that the children would be hoping to follow, and that the mark scheme for those markers would use to be able to decide whether they've got the marks. So if you do have any opportunity to just discuss with your children 3-mark questions, you can look on the website. There is Stats Papers, I think it's .org, lots of previous papers there. Have a look at some of the 3-mark questions, discuss with them, and hopefully just encourage them to even just give it a go, even if it's just for the 2 points, to hopefully secure those marks. Thank you very much.